My name's Rosie Weiss, and I make work about our relationship with the natural world. Many years ago I started to collect plant fragments from the edges of human activities, sort of beside paths or logging tracks, the edges of the sea, school playgrounds, really anything that had been worn down to its essential structure by human traffic, by people walking over it. They're my favourite pieces. And I then use them to talk about the climate emergency. In 2019, I put 400 of them together, or 40 years of work, in an installation at the Mornington Peninsula Regional Gallery. And in so doing, I was able to see all the connections between them for the first time. And so this work here in Shifting the Anthropocene is really a result of that happy accident, in a sense, that I was able to, instead of seeing them as plant portraits, I was able to see them more as a language and start to manipulate them to say things that I wanted to say. At the beginning of 2020, after the extraordinary fires, I went to East Gippsland and collected a number of burnt plant remnants and brought them back to the studio about a week before we went into lockdown. And so I was locked down with these extraordinary objects that were from a landscape that was so devastated I'd never seen anything like it. In the work Overt Equation, it's actually Ash Wednesday times the East Gippsland fire equals basically a disaster. And so each of the objects, the first one is from the Urquhart's Bluff after the Ash Wednesday fire, and it's a xanthorrhea that is burnt down to its hub, and to me it looks like a breast. So it's very symbolic to me of all sorts of things. The second object that makes the times sign and the equal sign was from a stick in my parents' garden when half their gardens or an edge of their garden burnt down. And the third object in Overt Equation is from the East Gippsland fire, the other major piece that I made for this show, there, Back to the Garden, which is actually from a Joni Mitchell song, We've Got to Get Ourselves Back to the Garden. That piece was also influenced by the fires, because I found vast tracts of land where nothing was regrowing, and I wondered what would colonise that space. And so, locked in my 5 kilometre zone, not being able to collect things, I started doing a lot of gardening, and so I made Back to the Garden from strands of couch grass. And being one of the most invasive weeds on earth, I thought it was a nice metaphor for what I was thinking about. So it's an SOS, which is an internationally acknowledged call for help, but it talks about species diversity or lack of. In my work, I think, as a lot of us do, I feel that I have to make the work. I have an urgent feeling about it. I think that comes from a period from about 2008 to 2015 when I didn't show my work publicly. I had 7 years of being very, very quiet. I showed it once in all of that time, and that was because I was very unwell, diagnosed with breast cancer, and I was fighting for my life. But I found through that time a new understanding of my work. Even though no one saw the work I was doing, I was making it for the first time for a different reason. I was making it to cope with the situation that I was in, and I found that it was as important to me as eating or drinking or breathing oxygen. That period of uncertainty, of not knowing if I was going to live or die, I discovered that it was the essential part of my being an artist.